Okay, hello, good evening, welcome to Tuesday, and it's Startup Tuesday. So I've got a single theme show for you again today. Let me just check that it's working, because that makes me happy. So let's just see. There we go. Sorry about the cough at the beginning. Okay, so today's show, another single concept show. So basically the thing about startups is that there's a lot going on, and we have to wear a lot of different hats. And the trouble with wearing different hats is that it's quite easy to drop the ball. So what we want to do is to think of ways where we could not drop the ball. So let's look at that. So I think the basic thing really with dropping the ball is basically is to avoid firefighting. Okay, because if we're firefighting, we're reacting versus planning. Okay, so this is obvious, it's nothing new, but people just don't sort this out. So we need to talk it through now. Obviously the way to not firefight is to have everything working fantastically, and being proactive and all that sort of stuff. But the trouble with that is that with the best intentions in the world, that still may not happen, because emergencies will always happen, and there will always be something to firefight, basically. So how do we, we can't avoid firefighting completely. So what can we do to make sure that we're still, not going to drop the ball? And I think, really the only kind of way of doing it really is basically to have, let's call them, checkpoints. So what that means is that we must, allocate time, or specific times, when we, verify that everything's running, or particular things are running, smoothly. And this is also going to include, which maybe isn't as intuitive, but this also wants to include a time for SWOT. And part of SWOT is going to be to how do we describe this, to be research aware. Let's call it that. The reason why that's a thing is because it's easy to know what you know. I know that sounds stupid, but anyway, but it's easy to know what you know, and most of the SWOT is easy to see in hindsight. It's not easy to see in advance, unless you're kind of specifically looking for changes in the industry, changes in legislation, specifically looking for for things to go wrong. Also following competitors, watching out for new competitors, watching out for new trends, new technology, just basically looking for new stuff. Now the problem is, unless we proactively decide to do that, then it's kind of going to be like firefighting in that it's just we're going to fall over it. Okay, and what we don't want to do is to fall over stuff. Okay, so you know, there is the only solution really is to, you know, take time out deliberately to, you know, to kind of to grow, but really to you know, just check you know, what's changed. And again, I know this sounds really obvious, it's just that people don't seem to do it, and they get caught unawares. So you know, this is also kind of doubly hard, you know, if you're in a small team or a one-man team, because, you know, obviously you're doing everything, and the firefighting will be the most, and distractions, you know, will be the most. And that's the thing, you know, that we need to avoid really. So yeah, we don't want to you know, fall over stuff. We want to, you know, deliberately, intentionally, you know, discover, you know, our timetable. You know, what it is that we, you know, we need to, you know, be on top of and to be doing and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, this is how we, you know, basically are going to be, you know, proactive, right, rather than reactive. Let's take that down the font. Yeah, we are. So, yeah, again, just in terms of, you know, simple, you know, time management. How do we do this? Let's grab, because if we don't, then we're, you know, at a big risk of dropping the ball. So, yeah, we know we want to do these proactive checkpoints, and you know, we need to, you know, make the time, you know, to do this. So the question is, how do we do this? So I think the, you know, the easiest and neatest and you know, seamless and all sorts of words, you know, to do this is basically a thing called AWS. Let me just take that over. Okay, which is let's put that in. Which is basically appointment with self. Now again, I know that sounds like a crazy kind of thing, but it basically, yeah, if you think about how you, you know, react to, you know, to schedules, to meetings, you know, you have to, you know, make the time, and you have to, you know, turn up, and you'll work towards it, and you'll make sure you're prepared, and you won't let anyone distract you, because you just say, I've got to go into a meeting now, talk to me when I come out of the meeting. Whereas, you know, if there wasn't a meeting, then you might well, you know, let them interrupt you, and that's what we don't want to do. So although it seems very you know, weird, basically appointment with self is really what we want, you know, to do, because it means we will make the time, you know, to do it. So you know, it depends what your, you know, schedule will be, and you know, how quickly things change in your industry. But we also want to try and get into the habit, you know, of you know, doing this, so that it is actually a habit, and then we don't, you know, skip it. So it might be, you know, that you do it monthly, but I think that's too far apart. Bi-weekly is just too kind of hard to remember which half of the week you're in, or which set of the week you're in. So I actually think it has to be weekly. But we may not need to spend all this time every week doing this, but I think it's worth spending that time every week in basically reflecting, and I think that's something that we really need to as entrepreneurs, we really need to get into the habit of that. Reflecting and taking stock, basically. Because we need to step back and make sure that we're on track. So we need to ask those questions. Are we on track? And I think that's really, really worth doing. I think it would probably be that that we would take this time, this appointment with ourselves to reflect on the stock. Sorry, to take stock. To take stock. There we are. Put the inflection in the right place. And then every month to really make sure that we're everything's on the ball. So I think the main things are really to make the time to work out what's new. Okay, as I say, that could be competitors, it could be tech, it could be legislation, or social changes or something like that, or it could be some other change. But it was in the clients for some other reason that I can't think of right now. But clients do change. It could be a generation change, or it could be a health change, or a change in affluence, or just the fact that they've now got over it, or something like that. So, but we need to allocate the time to step back and go, what's new, and then obviously the thing that you're probably in the habit of is to check your goals. Okay, but goals tend to be specific financial or numbers or kind of stuff, and you might even be using a dashboard or something like that to track that, and you might even be doing that every day. And obviously you want to know how much money's in your bank account, so you might be tracking that every day as well. But that's not really, as an entrepreneur, that's not really the defining thing. Really, we want to step back and see if our goals are actually growing, really, or if we're heading towards some point. So one of the neatest things that I discovered was I don't know exactly what, some sort of accounts tracking package, and they just did something very simple, which was, how can I draw this out? How can I draw this out? Some sort of graph, I suppose. So you're used to setting your targets, okay? You probably do that every day, okay? Actually, I'll use a little circle, and that's what you're tracking, and that's probably what you find easier to track, and that's what you're kind of focusing on. But all that's really doing is telling you if you're where you expect to be, need to be, that kind of thing. So what this account package or stat tracking package, whatever it did, was it basically just always did a projection to higher than you were aiming for, and what I mean by that is that they would put a line. Actually, that's the one. They do a line. Actually, it would be more like that. And actually, I think that makes my line there more confusing. I might take that out. So yeah, you might have projections, and maybe maybe you've put growth in your plan. Okay, you know that you want to be there or whatever, but really we want to see the growth. What am I trying to say? The kind of growth scheduled out. So this line was actually, this is the bit I missed. This was actually not just 10% above. It was 10% recurring. Okay, so whatever the your starting budget point was, basically you put in 10% above for that month. Okay, so whatever you were expecting to do, you kind of want to grow, and you might have goals along the way, and that's fine. But that just tells you that that you're doing this. But in actual fact, what's happened there is that your projection is really only that, and you can see that's not a particularly it's not a very steep line. It's not the growth that you might be thinking. And even if you do get that growth, is that kind of enough? So by putting this 10% every time, we can see that what we would have to do to kind of get it's not exponential, is it? But a kind of exponential growth. So so for instance, if we had if we started off, I'll just make the maths easy. If we started off with 100 whatevers, okay, pounds, dollars, $1 million, whatever you want. The next time we measure it, it should be 110. Okay, so you can see how this is going to work now. And then the next time, okay, it's not there. It wants to be 121, and the next time it might be 132, is it? I think something like that. Might be better to use a calculator to do this, but anyway. And then the next time it might be 145. Okay, so in this way you can see that staying on this line basically isn't enough. To get this kind of it's not exponential, but whatever the kind of curve it is, it's it needs to be more proactive. It needs to be this thing, and you could set the the amount of monthly growth that you wanted. So it could be 1% or 5% or 100%. It's up to you. But what this line does is it just shows you what you should be doing or could be doing if you could grow by 10% a month. And in theory, you should be able to grow by 10% a month. So even though you might have started off with, say, you expect your first set of sales to be maybe let's say 20k in the first month, and maybe you're aiming for a $2 million business, and that's great. But the problem is that if we were doing our jobs well and we could get 10% growth every month, then whatever we start at, the 20k, is going to quickly go past the 2 million, or maybe not that quickly. It's going to, at some point, it's going to go past the 2 million that we originally aimed for, because we don't want to get to 2 million and then stop and then think, well, what should we do next? And think, well, let's make it 4 million. Because you can, and maybe that's realistic, but maybe it isn't. But when you decide that 10% growth every month is realistic, then what you have to do to get that. Okay, and because it's continually rising, there's never an end to this. It's always 10% on above the last month, or whatever figure you choose in growth. But it shows you where you could be, and instantly when we look at this kind of thing, we can see that we're doing okay with the blue line. But that really our potential was actually this red line, and there isn't really a reason why we shouldn't have 10% growth on growth every month, or whatever you want to figure you want to pick, 1% or 5% or 100%, whatever it is you want to do. But this lets us see what we should be striving for, if you want a better word. Whereas your actual goals and your cash projections and the kind of things you show to the banks and the things you put in business plans, they're probably going to tend to be more fixed goal based. And although 2 million by the end of a year or something might be great, it's not really the potential that you had. So you need to decide what the potential is, for growth. Whether it's 1% or 5% or 10%, whatever. And then the beauty of this is then what you need to do, how much you need to spend, what your advertising budget needs to be on an increasing basis, how much money you need to reinvest in your business in order to achieve the 10% per month growth, or whatever figure you pick. And that's actually quite important, and that's really a kind of a step back moment, because when you work out what your realistic growth is, and then you can see what you need to achieve that, and then if you're not achieving that, if you're not actually getting your sales or the number of units or whatever up to this line, okay, so that's where it should be, but maybe this is where you are. Okay, so we can see that something went wrong. Either we didn't do it, or our projection's not real, or the amount of effort or resources or whatever it takes to achieve that are not real. In which case, we need to realign what we're doing. And I think that's just a very powerful technique to visualize your potential. So it is growth basically, but it's a quick and immediate way of predicting growth. So whatever figure you put in, but the point is it's continual, and it never stops. And in theory, if you think about it, if you reinvest the profits every month, and you scale up your actions, then it should actually be possible to grow 10% every month, or whatever figure you pick, rather than sort of limiting yourself and thinking, well, we'll get to 2 million and then stop or something, and then think about it then. Whereas if you put this plan into place and you see the momentum you need and the resources and budget you need, then it's much more tangible to actually put it in place. Okay, so I don't know what this is called, but projecting this 10% growth, I think I'll just click growth projection for this. But this growth projection is really quite important, because it is about growth, and if you're not growing, you're dying, as somebody said. and that's basically true, because if if you're just staying the same, you're basically just staying where you are. And that can easily go backwards. But if you're always trying to grow, then then that's your focus, and that's probably what will happen. Okay, so, and this is part of the taking stock, because your target figures, you're checking your bank statements and whatever, but you don't really know what your growth is. So when you look at this kind of thing, you're actually going to be looking at the other factors, like attrition, conversion rates, profit, anything like that, and basically your growth in terms of scaling and ad budgets and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a very important part of the taking stock kind of thing. Okay, I just really like the simplicity of drawing a line 10% above every month. To actually check that you're growing. Okay, with this kind of system here. But also in terms of we have to do it weekly to make it a habit. We have to make an appointment with ourselves so that it actually gets done, and we don't get distracted, and we don't allow ourselves to get distracted, and we don't postpone it, because we can't put this sort of stuff on a to-do list. We actually have to know if we're on track or not. So you have to take the time out. You have to choose what you do and don't do, and choosing what you don't do is usually more important, in order to stay on top of this. And then hopefully we'll be able to predict the SWOT more. We'll be aware of all the new stuff that's going to change, and what's going to affect us, and we're making sure we take the time to do this. And this becomes a regular checkpoint sort of thing. So we're never failing to make sure that we're on track here. Okay, so that's basically it. There might be other things in this that you want to take into account, and there might be other things that you want to measure. Actually, there's another thing I need to talk to you about at some point. But I actually came up with because a lot of people wonder how to define success, and it's easy to put that in terms of profits, but sometimes there are other things equally as equally as indicative of whether you're succeeding or not. Okay, and I haven't got time to go through them now, but I actually come up with I think it was six key factors of success. For instance, I'll just tell you one of them now. So one of them was customer happiness. Okay, because if customer happiness isn't directly visible on the bottom line. Okay, and not on a daily basis. It's certainly going to be responsible for long-term profits and the decline of profits and the customer attrition. Affecting your future business. But that's kind of measuring it when they've already left. When you're already losing the money. Whereas when you measure customer happiness as an actual thing, on this weekly basis, it's one of the measures you take. You'll know that if there is a problem with profits or scaling or attrition or whatever, it's not because of the customer happiness angles, and so you've got that nailed down. So I worked out what the 6 factors that I were the most important to me, and what actually we're going to be the basis for profits going forward. Okay, as I say, and you can't really detect it just in the balance sheet. So that's why measuring customer happiness in whatever terms you can other than financial is actually the kind of the foundation of not dropping the ball, really, because when you see the money going down, the profits going down or your turnover going down, it's kind of already too late. Something happened, and you didn't predict it, and you didn't proactively rectify it. You're just reacting to the fact that something's gumming up the works, and you're not making as much profit, or you're not making as many sales. When you measure your 6 key metrics, then you can tell really in advance what you need to do as a total kind of package to get this end game up. Okay, so again, it's another kind of taking stock to work out what these are. Obviously, first step, and secondly, to actually measure these, because again, you're not going to see them on your regular goal type bank statements and financial numbers and anything like that. Whereas the key metrics are going to be, or key factors, are really going to be the the biggest advanced notification of what needs to happen. Okay, so that's kind of it. So I know that was kind of obvious, and it's not nothing's new, to be honest. But again, it's just that people aren't focusing on this, and this is actually really important. Predicting, projecting, how to grow and how not to fail, and making sure you don't drop the ball because you have all of the facts in front of you, and you're not just being reactive to competition. You're taking the time out to see the new competition and see the changes in the future, and that's going to put you in really good stead for making sure that your future is successful. So that's it. So I hope you enjoyed that. Comment below this live stream. Let me know what you think, what you like, what you didn't like. If you've got anything to add to this, the kind of things that you measure or you think would be good to measure, anything like that. Put the comments below the live stream, and I'll respond, when I can, either directly or on another show or whatever. So that's it for now. I shall see you tomorrow. See you then. Bye bye for now. Bye bye. Bye bye.